Hello there, my fellow Cybertronians. This is the Mega Ginge for the Ginger Transformer podcast, and we're going to do something a bit more strange today when it comes to all things considered G1. We're going to take a little step through the looking glass. As you might have hopefully got by the little stepping through the looking glass thing, we're going to have a look at the largely G1 inspired Shattered Glass universe. I can't speak for everyone. My first time seeing something to do with an alternate universe, a mirror universe, was Star Trek, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would say the same. That was their first encounter with a mirror universe, whether it was in Star Trek, the original series, whether it was Deep Space Nine, which had at least one episode a season each to do with the mirror universe. Eventually, someone in the Transformers botcon community decided, hey, let's give that a go, shall we? Looks interesting. But they couldn't call it Through the Looking Glass, or they couldn't call it Broken Mirror or anything that kind of stuff. So they came up with Shattered Glass, which still basically sums it up. We have heroic Decepticons and evil Autobots in what are known in the Axiom Nexus as negative polarity universes. Axiom Nexus, don't worry, I'll get to all this stuff literally now. BotCon was something truly unique back in its day. Nowadays, it's going again, but in my opinion, it's not as good as it used to be. They used to have these like massive sets you'd bring out, and in BotCon 2008, a few more than a few BotCons in, they decided to do a mirror universe comic known as Shatterglass. So you got an initial comic and an exclusive toy set. Quick overview of the comic. Cliff Jumper from the Classics verse is accidentally tossed into a mirror universe, their mirror universe, the Shattered verse. He comes across Hot Rod with a mustache. Yeah, everyone's got to have a mustache in a mirror universe, but a different paint job. And all his companions have different paint jobs. And yeah, their insignias are purple. And then they find them torturing and killing Decepticons while having fun. This isn't clicked in any way, shape, or form. It isn't clicked as wrong to Cliff Jumper, bar the torture and death and mutilation. The but once Optimus Prime, that Optimus Prime, riddles him full of holes from his rifle. He kind of gets the picture, especially when he's rescued by Decepticons, Megatron, and more to the point, Sideswipes from that universe, who stayed up the Autobots and joined Megatron's forces. The comic kind of keeps going on from there with the threat of Optimus Prime's arc, which he wants to launch to conquer other planets. Cliff Jumper agrees to help the Decepticons on a kind of friendly basis, because obviously it's against everyone who's ever known. And they end up assaulting the Autobots to try to stop the Ark from taking off. They assault the platform, the Ark comes down, thanks to Cliff Jumper, our Cliff Jumper, who after Megatron he doesn't sacrifice himself. He can take a shot to the chest. He's Megatron in any universe, but he jumps in front of Cliff Jumper when Prime tries to kill him, and that seems to put the final piece into place for Cliff Jumper. Decepticons here good, Autobots here assholes. And like I said, the platform comes down, the Ark comes down, it puts all of Prime's plans back, and Cliff Jumper officially joins the Decepticons. Good Decepticons. It's a short overview of that comic because it doesn't stop there. For any of you who don't know what BotCon is, or at least was, it was basically I've just done a few podcasts on what ifs. They seem to be almost what if esque comics. Shattered Glass, for example. What if the Autobots were the bad guys? What if the Cybertronian War finally got to end? That kind of stuff. But one of the comics, the fighting does officially stop. So on another one we get to see the Maximals and Predacons before they were on Earth in their beast forms. Like basically the prelude to that. But we're here to talk about Mirror Universe stuff. For the Shattered Glass stuff in 2008, the toy set included in this in 2008, it made you jump for joy, even though a lot of the molds were relatively old ones getting used. Prime, Grimlock, Goldbug, Jazz, and Starscream, all Mirror Universe. No G1 verse stuff there. Starscream came with a Minicon Razorclaw. Attendee only bonus toy was Ratchet. Customization class toy was Nightbeat. Actual souvenir toys, Megatron, Rodimus, and Dive Bomb, all in one pack. Blur, Sideswipe, and Whisper, and a little tiny Snarl, apparently. And another pack. You got a lot of stuff, a lot of BotCon-esque stuff, you know? Sorry, Mirror Universe, BotCon-esque stuff. And it was good. It was great. Then it tapered off for a while. We got figures, some figures throughout the years, BotCon 2009, uh, Thunderclash, and Heatwave. BotCon 2010, we got Ravage. He came with Scorch. I had that set. So to TFCC 2010 Cyclonus, Transformers Collector Club, for anyone who doesn't know. Once again, I'll get to all this. BotCon 2011, you got Souvenir 2-pack of Galvatron and Thundercracker, once again, both from the Shattered Glasswares. So they were giving you plenty of figures over the years to keep you kind of into it, you know. Proudly returning in BotCon 2012 with the Invasion comic. We once again got to see more Shattered Glass stuff. This time on a full-on, well, not a full-on invasion, a kind of invasion into the Classics verse. Once again, I'll do a kind of quick overview here. And it actually starts in the Axiom Nexus, which is basically the biggest city on a Cybertron controlled by the Transtechs. Cybertronians who've never been to war. You know, they've developed multiversal travel and all that kind of stuff, you know, and basically taken multiversal garbage of the universe, which they put in a lower city, not up with them, obviously, because they're superior. Their words, not mine. And they noticed that there's been some disaster in one of the positive universes, which was impacted strongly by one of the negative universes, Classic Verse and the Shattered Verse. And they end up having a look-see to see what happened. We see the aftermath of a Decepticon battle at the Ironworks factory. Autobots patting themselves on the back for able to hold off Gigatron, Overlord, very small Overlord, and his band of Decepticons, where an interdimensional space bridge opens up in the sky. Rewind that, and we see Ultra Magnus in the Shatterverse on a prison planet Paradron. G1 nostalgia. And he's killed Ironhide, who's his jailer, and he's got Wheeljack with him, he's got Tracks, he's got some of the Junkions, and he's basically flipping off to his prime the bird saying, I'm going to do something that you could never do. Sod you. And he goes through with Optimus Prime, not one to be undone, outmatched, sorry, by his brother. But he does call him, you know, well, Magnus does call him brother, and so I assume the brothers in this, not just brothers in arms. Maybe he meant brothers in arms. It was never really clarified. He was just too busy doing that to Prime, you know. Prime sends out a signal that means he'll be getting followed by a heroic Decepticon crew at some point. But until then, flash forward again, boom, he's opened up a portal between universes, and him, Trax, Wheeljack, and a bunch of Junkions invade. Now, that doesn't sound like a big invasion, but the Junkions have a power. There's some sort of like little leech-looking things they can attach to someone of the normal universe, and it turns them into a Junkion, kind of in the way that Unicron reshaped Galvatron, but like fast, really fast, split fast, you know. And several classic verse Autobots are converted. Their army starts to grow. This is a problem. So Wheeljack, he's off to do his thing, which is to find rarefied energon and basically harvest it for their goals. Everyone else is just basically, you know, slaughter everyone and keep them away from Wheeljack, basically. So basically, that's what you get. You get Autobot and Autobot violence, and the good guys aren't doing all that well. You've got Metal Hawk and Kickback and a few others. Kickover. It's called Kickover in this. My apologies. Other Decepticons show up from the negative universe, so the good guys, led by Treadshot, and you've got Soundwave, and you've got Straxus, and you've got Octopunch, you know, a little squad that deals with Magnus, you know, or they've at least dealt with each other in the past. And turns out Ultra Magnus' plan is to take Earth and whatever's left of it through to his universe using the rarefied energon, which would pretty much crack the Earth. You know, the heroic Decepticons help the heroic Autobots, and eventually Gigatron and his Decepticons show up and assist the Autobots, the heroic Autobots and heroic Decepticons, because for some reason these Decepticons have common sense and they want to stop Ultra Magnus from doing whatever the hell he's doing. Doesn't really succeed that way. Wheeljack leaves his invention behind a force field. You've got Octopunch versus Octopunch, Skullgrim versus Scoop with his target masters. But once again, eventually they all kind of come together to try to stop the alternate versions of Magnus and Trax and the Insecticons, the Junkions. The color scheme is Insecticon. And it just, Soundwave comes up with a plan. It saves everyone on Earth, but as Earth wholly intact is transferred through to the negative universe, our universe is destroyed, completely wiped out, obliterated. And on the last page, even the Decepticons are looking up into the sky with that kind of what the fuck? And then Straxus, who knows poetry in the negative polarity universe, he's a good poet apparently, starts spewing off some poetry to try to calm them. I'm sorry, a universe has just died, but hey, here's a poem, That's the basically long and short of that comic, right? It's more in depth. There are more bits and pieces to it, but that's the gist. The exclusive toy sets of this was a SG Ultra Magnus, SG Trax, SG Soundwave, Gigatron, Overlord, and Metal Hawk, both classic verse. At show souvenir packs were SG Prime and Kickover, SG Octopunch and Spinister, SG Junkions in a 3-pack, Redgar, Scrap Iron, and Junk Heap. That could be a P, that could be a D. Junk Heap, Junkhead, either which way. They get lost in the minutiae because there's literally hundreds of Junkions by the end of it because they're just kind of like expanding through the ranks. Customization exclusive was an SG Longarm. Attendee bonus only toy was SG Dark Mount Straxus, There was a Transformers Collector Club Drift, all brought out around about the same time. After that, there's not much love left for the SG stuff. Yeah, eHobby 2013 SG Blaster and SG Soundwave 2-pack, but they're based on the original molds, so not a lot of flexibility, not a lot of moving about, just they can basically transform and point a gun, But they do come with some cassettes. BotCon 2015, Stepper with Nebulon, that's his target master, and TFCC Nova Prime, SG Nova Prime, that is. TFCC, which I was mentioning, basically your Timelines comics, which is your big BotCon comic, one a year. And, they wouldn't just leave you hanging. There's more. The Shattered Glass comics didn't just stop after 2008. You had Dungeons and Dinobots in December 2008, Do Over February 2009, Desert Heat March 2009, Eye the Sky May 2009, Blitzwing Bop, I've read some of that one, that was weird, is November 2009, Transhuman July 2011, Coalescence December 2016, and Invasion, which was 2012 as like a timeline comic. They are basically known as the main stories of the fun publication SG Comics. Other pub comics set in, around, or somewhere involved with the SG universe included, this is the TFCC part, Transformers Collector Club. Reunification issues 25 to 30. Now, the TFCC, Transformers Collector Club, basically you joined up, you paid your dues every month, and you got like a comic. Now, the comic was maybe about 5 pages long. The story was about 5 pages long. It had lots of other stuff in it, including like bios and toys and other short, like wee weird comics in it, And that went on for a long time. The SG related ones, reunification issues 25 to 30. Basically, the coming together of Autobots and Decepticons from both universes to form Nexus Prime. Now, there's a rumour that there's going to be a Nexus Prime brought out with the new Transformers toy line we're getting just now. But whether he'll be a combiner or not, I don't know. But yeah, basically, Heatwave, I mentioned earlier on, and other Autobots and Decepticons come together. They form Nexus Prime. He's like got the power of Primus himself and that kind of stuff. It's a nice little kind of short arc where you basically see a lot more Autobots and Decepticons switched around with different color schemes, and it gave you hope back in the day that yes, you'd probably get some more SG characters in toy form. You didn't get any more from BotCon or TFCC, but that's for part two. Beast Wars Shattered Glass, issues 49 to 54 of the TFCC comics. That those ones I've only read them once, but they were nice. It was a nice change of pace, you know. And Spatio-Temporal Challengers, four-part prose story from 2016 by TCC as a sequel to 2008's Withered Hope GoBot story. But once again, apparently it's something to do with different universes, so I'm hooked, you know. And Another Light, issues 60 through 66 of the TCC comics. I think that would be the last, I think, of all the Shattered Glass Fun Pub comics. Um, and it came together kind of nicely in the end. It never ends, but yeah, that did. If you're interested in any of these comics, if you're a part of the TFCC Transversal Collectors Club, you'll have them all. Or if you've been a BotCon, you'll have them. So if you don't have them, if you're interested in this different kind of stuff to do with Mirror Universe, Generation 2, Elite Guard, that kind of stuff, you can get it for free on the internet. If interested, the Transformers timelines, the BotCon comics, are available online on the website Read All Comics. One word, Read All Comics. Okay, it's just a free comic book site. You shouldn't yet. If it asks you for any bank details or whatever the crap, get off it. You're not on the right one. The tie-in TCC comics are not on that site. They can be found on the website called Read Comics Online. Once again, all one word. Read Comics Online. Read Comic Online. There is that you get a lot of pop-ups. If you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, or you're married, or you basically have a partner, if you're going to read these, tell them right at the start you're going to read them. There are pop-ups. That way, if you go to the toilet and they look at what you're reading and there's a picture of the woman with her out, they're pop-ups. It might just be simply, it might just say simply, a virus is downloaded. The virus doesn't download unless you click the bloody link. Don't click the link. But if you can stand the pop-ups, those are the sites to go for the comics, the Shattered Glass stuff. I won't lie, once again, Mirror Universe stuff is a favourite of mine, going back to Star Trek. And, you had like others do the multiversal stuff. TV show Supernatural eventually started dipping into other universes and stuff, you know. And the MCU did the whole multiverse stuff. Fantastic, good for them. But they never really did, neither of them never really did kind of a what's on the other side of the mirror kind of thing, you know, like a complete opposite kind of thing, you know, which pisses me off because I would have loved to have seen evil Sam and Dean, you know, Lucifer was terrified of them, or or I'm kind of hoping Doomsday and Secret Wars, uh, we won't get it. I know we won't get it if they stick to the comics. We won't get it, but it would be nice just to see all the evil versions of the heroes, you know. And I mean even the evil versions of Captain America, not Captain Hydra, and just an evil version of Captain America, an evil Captain America, or an evil Iron Man, not superior Iron Man, you know? Not different variations of character, like they're complete, just fucking polar opposites from a negative polarity universe. I know a lot of you probably, if you know your SG stuff, is saying, going, wait, you've missed out a shit ton of stuff. No, I haven't. That's in the next video. Hopefully that means you'll come back for the next one. Till next time. See you later, my fellow Cybertronians.